Superhero franchises are dead. Since Endgame, Marvel has struggled to find stories to tell, and DC, although having a new universe soon, may struggle finding viewers. Big franchise superhero universes are the way of the past, but it doesn't need to mean the end of superhero content. The best 5 pieces of superhero content from the last 5 years are not connected to a big universe, but are on their own. The Boys, Invincible, and the Spider-Verse films are widely acclaimed and have broken the past superhero flick fandom into just becoming for hardcore film junkies. Each world takes place in its own self-contained universe, much of which leading into the property's success. And all of this in relation to the biggest problem with superhero stories. But first, how did we get here? 15 years ago with Iron Man, we not only had no big franchises, but the one that was about to start was heavily praised by these film critics. In fact, here at the start, it made sense to have the MCU with all the interconnecting stories. Most independent superhero films at the time were flops unless being Batman or Spider-Man. Shared universe was necessary, but was utilized well. Ever since Iron Man, the MCU has been bullied, not some Thanos. The whole MCU was designed to lead up into Infinity War and Endgame. Sure, we had setups of future events that we'd see in Phase 4, Phase 5, Phase 6, but the main focus of the film was to get the audience into the mindset and prepare the universe for the conclusion of the Infinity Saga with Snap. That is the reason why Phases 1 through 3 of the MCU work so well, and Phases 4 and 5 don't. Every story felt important and deserved being watched, unlike the recent MCU not having too much content, but hardly anything relevant. This is also why the DCU failed, and many copycat cinematic universes failed as well. They don't have a planned story, a reason for you to come watch a film, nor a reason for the films to be made, besides, of course, money. And this takes us back to The Boys, Invincible, and the Spider-Verse films, each in their own little universe of superheroes and does a great job telling their stories with purpose for everything that comes out. Now, why do all of these work and nothing that Marvel and DC does end up good? There are many reasons, like being uninspired, put out too fast, or just corporate interference, but I think the main thing has to do with them being in a bigger universe. When you make a film, you're essentially creating a universe for your story to take place in. You are designing each aspect of the reality so that I can better serve the story and you want to tell. It is the reason that The Matrix and Inception can exist in the same universe, or Alien and E.T. So, for that very reason, as time goes by and we get further away from the Infinity Saga, the stories just seem to get worse because we're now in a universe that wasn't made for everything we're getting. The MCU started as very scientific, having an explanation for any magic that happens, but now we're dealing with these ancient magical forces which have existed for millions of years in the universe, and they're trying to fit that into the science universe, and it doesn't work. But it is the complete opposite with The Boys, Spider-Verse, and Invincible. As these worlds were created for these projects, it makes the stories so much richer and more like actual movies and TV shows instead of just things put out for the sole purpose of money without any story behind them. For The Boys, in order for the story to work, we need all the soups to have injected Compound V, and they need to be controlled by a mega corporation. For Spider-Verse to work, we need Alchemax in the multiverse, canon events. For Invincible, we need to have the Pentagon working with heroes, the Council of Systems or whatever it's called, and all the stuff in space. None of these stories could have just been plopped in the MCU or DC EU, because for a real story to work, it needs a universe created to explain the whole story, one that fits the tone and the messages. That's what happens in a regular movie. But in the MCU, these shows are just being put out because they have to. The MCU is in a very difficult place where the product should be standalones, but because it's the MCU, they need to have pointless interconnectivity, yet they can't even do it that well. So, if we want to get good superhero movies once more, I think it is clear the way to go forward. We are at the end of the big shared universes, but that doesn't need to be the end of comic book films and shows. So if we want to get good superhero movies once more, I think it's clear the way to go forward. We're at the end of big shared universes, but it doesn't need to be the end of comic book films and shows. If we want more superhero media, we need to start getting separate universes which are designed for the stories inside of them. Marvel even started to do this with series like Daredevil and Jessica Jones, and even to an extent with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Although it may be connected to the MCU, it's not really. It was its own darker universe, which it needed for the stories to work. For that reason, I don't think Daredevil Born Again has much chances of succeeding. And also with spin-offs for Spider-Verse and the Boys, I do slightly worry about these series. We of course have Gen V coming soon, and the Spider-Man Noir show in the works. I worry that Sony may just try to turn out these projects into their own universes. Now, for Gen V, I do not worry because I feel it's going to be a necessary part of the story to get to season 4 and 5 of The Boys and to wrap it up. But Spider-Man Noir in live action, uh, and it was originally going to come out after Beyond the Spider-Verse, before the delays, of course. So I don't see how the show has any purpose, how it'll become part of the Spider-Verse. I personally think popular character, make money. With this video, I don't mean to say we can't have any interconnectivity. We can have sequels or spin-offs like Gen V, even in the Adam Eve special, because all of those help tell the story in the better way. But we don't need interconnectivity for interconnectivity's sake. Imagine if the Batman and the Joker were in the same universe. It probably wouldn't work, but those projects show you don't need connected movies to have success at the box office, and you can probably tell a better story as well. Anyways, though, that's all I have to say. What do you think of these smaller universe superhero projects like that Boys, Joker, Invincible, or otherwise? Do you think they are the future of superhero media, or do you think the big franchise will continue to reign supreme? And all that and more, make sure to leave in the comments down below. I recently made a video discussing why animation needs to play a heavier part in superhero stories due to style similarities, as well as many other factors. If you are interested in checking that out, make sure to click the video on screen now. Subscribe to help me on my journey to 1,000 subscribers and to see future videos discussing shows like The Boys, Spider-Verse, all things related. Thanks for watching. I have been Fictional Fanatics. I will see you in the next one, but until then, bye!